Gervonta Davis is more focused on selling tickets and making money and securing his future for himself and his family. He said it out of his own mouth. I ain't got nothing else to prove.
That's what the mentors to teach you how to do this thing the smart way and not get you hurt, not have to take no risk, not to take many chances. So if that's what you learn, why? If that's the easy way out, why not do that? But y'all gave him credit for it, so y'all can't give him credit for it. He can do the same thing that this guy did. They won't be cool with that. You had to prove you was the best. They thought you fought because you wanted to be the best of the division or the best of your era. They didn't think you fought for just money or just fame for being rich. Now you fighting for fame just to be rich. That's how the game has changed. There's been a drastic shift.
It's a shift, for
we
sure.
don't care about being the GOAT in our weight class. We don't care about being a GOAT 10 years down, 20 years down the line. We don't care about that no more. And that's what people don't understand when I say stuff. This the kind of stuff.
Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. recently gave their honest perspective on Gervonta Davis, explaining that his mindset seems to have changed, as he now appears more focused on earning money rather than returning for the fans or building a lasting legacy, suggesting that his current direction is less about proving he's the best in his division and more about securing financial success.
I want to be the best in my division. As a matter of fact, I want to be the best around my division, not just in my division, even around my division. I want to be the best. Today's fighters, they have been taught that that's not the way to do it nowadays. Nowadays, go for the bag. So everybody is going for the bag.
Andre Ward expressed that Gervonta Davis now seems more interested in financial success than in pursuing all-time greatness, noting that he no longer speaks about creating a lasting legacy or becoming one of the sport's all-time greats, and adding that he can't recall the last time Davis mentioned having the goal of being the greatest fighter in boxing history.
My take on Davis. I don't remember the last time that I've heard Gervonta Davis say, I'm in boxing to be the greatest fighter of all time. I can't remember. I've heard him say that he's better than certain guys in his weight class, or this kid can't beat me. I've heard that. I can't remember, and maybe y'all can keep me honest online. The last time I've heard Gervonta Davis talk about his legacy in the ring. Like I'm building my legacy. I'm trying to outdo Floyd in legacy. Like, I think it started like that for him.
Speaking with Roy Jones Jr., Andre Ward continued by saying that Gervonta Davis has turned his attention toward financial opportunities, concentrating on promoting fights and building long-term security instead of pursuing legacy. And he added that if that's the path he's chosen, then people shouldn't expect him to go out of his way to prove he's among the all-time greats.
Influence of Floyd Mayweather, money man, not pretty boy, but the money man, and building your brand and selling tickets and selling pay-per-views and becoming a household name, that's also a legacy. You got the legacy in the ring and you got the legacy in terms of how you sold. I believe Gervonta Davis is more focused on selling tickets and making money and securing his future for himself and his family. He said it out of his own mouth. I ain't got nothing else to prove. Well, depends on what your goal is. It depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to be one of the greatest fighters of all time, it's still a whole lot to prove. My point is, Roy, I don't think should everybody hold this man to the standard that they hold him to and say, you not fighting nobody. Yeah, you making money, but you ain't really fought nobody. If he don't even care about that, that's not even something that he's really focused on. If his main focus is the money, and his main focus is getting out of boxing without getting hurt and retiring on his own terms, shouldn't his fan base and other people get on board with that if that's not even his goal? How can we hold him to something like that if he don't even hold himself to it?
Roy Jones Jr. described Gervonta Davis's strategy by saying he's essentially mirroring the blueprint of his mentor, choosing calculated fights, minimizing unnecessary risks, and focusing on earning money, while adding that since this approach has proven successful before, fans should be willing to accept Davis following that same path.
They should get on board with that. They definitely should, because, I mean, his mentor did basically the same thing, so why can't he do it? You know what I'm saying? He made more money than anybody. He was smarter than everybody. He didn't take too many stupid risks. That's what he did, and it worked for him, and people okay with that and accepting it, so why can't Tank do it? Tank can do the same thing the mentor did. That's what the mentors to teach you how to do this thing the smart way and not get you hurt, not have to take no risk, not to take many chances. So if that's what you learn, if that's the easy way out, why not do that? But y'all gave him credit for, so why y'all can't give him credit for it? He can do the same thing that this guy did. Everybody had their own mentors, their own pound for pounds, their own people they want to be like. If he want to be like that guy that y'all say is great and was one of the best ever, why can't he do it? So I'm cool with whatever he say he want to.
Roy Jones Jr. looked back on his time in boxing, explaining that fighters back then were driven by the desire to prove they were the best, not by money or fame. Whereas today the emphasis has shifted towards securing major earnings and growing popularity. And although fans have come to accept this reality, it highlights how much the sport and its priorities have evolved.
Old day, no, that wouldn't work for me because that's not how I work, but that's not how I grew up. That's not how my mentors grew up. But he is dead, and that's what he saw, and it got him paid. So nowadays, most guys just want to get paid. They ain't really interested in all the legacy and the being the best at their weight division or being the best. They ain't interested in that no more. So with that interest being thrown to the wolves now, all this kind of stuff is cool because if your fan base is cool with it, then it is. And if the fan base ain't cool with it, if he make 50 to 100 million fighting Jake Paul, they'll be cool with it because they cool with you making money. That's what the fan bases are on now. They happy with you just making money being good. Back in our day, they won't be cool with that. You had to prove you was the best. They thought you fought because you wanted to be the best of the division or the best of your era. They didn't think you fought for just money or just fame for being rich. Now you fighting for fame just to be rich. That's how the game has changed. There's been a drastic
Andre Ward agreed with Roy Jones Jr. and added that the newer generation views legacy in a completely different way, explaining that when veteran fighters talk about earning respect or proving greatness, it can seem disconnected from today's reality, as modern fighters are more focused on securing major paydays and place far less importance on building a lasting legacy.
Everybody is going for the bag.
They're not only going for the bag, but when you talk too much about legacy, it's almost like the younger generation laughs at the older generation like y'all some fools.
Of course.
Like y'all really fought him for that amount of money?
Of course.
You fought 4 of these guys back to back for this amount of money? It's almost like, oh, y'all got robbed. You tripping.
Meanwhile, Kenny Ellis stood up for Gervonta Davis, arguing that Tank has never avoided difficult opponents for financial reasons, explaining that many of the fighter's fans wanted him to face either move to different weight classes, left the division altogether, or even declined massive offers. Yet despite that, critics still claim he was the one who didn't take those fights.
It's unfinished business, but you can't blame Tank because everybody moving up and moved out the weight class, people that you wanted to see him fight, you know what I'm saying? When they was there, they should have made it happen. Tank never ever ducked no smoke. You know, you hear a lot of shit in the media, but he never ducked no smoke. Never. That goes on behind the scenes, the ones that really duck, you know, people got receipts on them ducking, it don't come out though, you know? People have been offered more than enough money that they ever made and still turn the fight down, but they get on this internet and talk like they want to fight them. But that's another whole story behind the scene, you know? Tank never ducked no smoke. So if he stay retired, I support him. If he come back, I support him.
Stephen A. Smith also labeled Gervonta Davis as the sport's top draw, highlighting his fearless style and knockout power, pointing out that Tank can absorb shots while delivering heavy punches in return, and noting that no opponent has ever genuinely rocked or seriously hurt him inside the ring.
Davis, to me, is the number one attraction in boxing. He's the number one attraction in boxing. He will finish you. Yeah. He will close. Yeah. And this brother comes, and he's one of those guys. They call him, the mini Mike, as a Mike Tyson. Yeah. He's willing to take a punch to give it now. Yeah. And I haven't seen him hurt. He got bruised. Yep. He might have bruises, but I ain't seen nobody wobble him. I ain't seen him.
However, when discussing a potential matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis, Roy Jones Jr. complimented Stevenson's high-level skills and precise footwork, but pointed out that moving too far out of range at times can reduce his chances to counter effectively, adding that this careful approach, particularly when facing powerful punchers, can make his performances feel less exciting to fans.
Shakur Stevenson is a very good fighter, but you got to learn, and I will hope he will pay attention to this because this is going to mean a lot for him. Mm-hmm. His feet are good, but sometimes they take him too far out of range to be able to come back and counter. Mm-hmm. The last guy he fought, The guy was a good puncher, so when he was jumping back, he was jumping too far back out of range to where he couldn't come back and get.
Roy Jones Jr. went on to make a prediction, saying he currently favors Shakur Stevenson to win, pointing to his strong discipline in and out of the ring as a key advantage, while also mentioning that Gervonta Davis sometimes struggles with consistency in focus, though he stressed that when Tank is fully locked in mentally and motivated, his ability and natural gifts make him dangerous for any opponent.
The ring, but who wins that fight right now, in your opinion?
Right now, Shakur wins it because of his discipline, because he showed against Teofimo that he stay very disciplined all night, and he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally, so it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, sometimes Gervonta has problems with discipline, but we have never seen Shakur have problems with discipline. We've seen him be more disciplined at right times than we've seen him not have discipline. So with the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intentions. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank is a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate Tank Davis. If Tank is motivated and ready to fight, Tank is a problem.
On the other hand, Gervonta Davis is getting ready for his comeback. And while it's still unclear whether his return is driven by legacy goals or financial motivation, fans are still eagerly waiting to see him step back into the ring. Gervonta "Tank" Davis continues to put in serious work during training, refining his technique while sharpening his punching power, with his preparation focused on staying in peak condition and being fully ready for whatever challenges come in his next fight. At this stage, Gervonta Davis's next opponent has not been officially confirmed, but there is growing speculation that a potential comeback fight against Shakur Stevenson could happen, as many consider it one of the most highly anticipated matchups in boxing right now.